Hey y'all, welcome to Maverick Gunworks. Today I'm going to talk about revolvers that are chambered for semi-automatic cartridges. Alright, so this is a fine example of that item. Anyway, we have a Smith & Wesson Model 610 chamber for a 10mm cartridge. This is a really heavy, I believe it's an end frame gun from Smith & Wesson. Super nice, all stainless steel, but being chambered for a 10mm cartridge, which is a semi-auto cartridge, it also will fire the .40 caliber Smith & Wesson cartridge. So we'll talk about those and compare those in just a minute. But for a little bit more about this particular gun, it is a double action, so you can pull the trigger here and it fires, and also single action. So double and single action revolver. And a couple of features of it. So we have an adjustable rear sight, right? And the front blade is also replaceable if you want to put a fiber optic or some other type of sight in front of it. Other than that, it's just a really well-made product for as Smith & Wesson revolvers typically are. One of the things that is kind of a trick about this gun is, and some people like this feature, I guess, if you need to lock it out for whatever reason, it comes with a little key right here where you can lock the action. Just a little, put a little key right there in that slot on the, if I can get it in there. Okay, well, let me get my fingers so I can work this thing. Line it up just right. Okay, and you can turn it quarter turn, and it locks the action so it does not operate. So now the gun is locked out and safe as far as anybody picking it up and playing with it. It shouldn't be. All right, so that's a good feature on some revolvers. Smith makes it available for this gun. And now let me unlock it. Okay, you better see it right there. There we go. So just that little quarter turn with this key will lock the action so that it'll be safe for storage kind of thing. All right. And there are a couple of different companies that make such a thing on a revolver. I know Taurus, they have some models like that. But anyway, with this particular gun, I want to show you with the revolver cartridges versus these semi-automatic cartridges. Okay, and here I have an example of our 10mm here and our .40 caliber here. They're the same diameter bullet wise, but the 10mm is a little bit larger weight or larger grain bullet. You're looking at anywhere from 165, I think, to about 200 grain. And this .40 caliber, it starts out about 150 or so, 155, goes up to 185, maybe 180. Typical about 165 is standard for the .40 caliber, and you're looking at 180, 185 standard for the 10mm. And if you look at the comparison height-wise, you see a 10mm cartridge is a little bit taller, so you have more power in it, a little more thump, a little more horsepower when on impact when you're firing the gun. And you'll be able to feel that too, actually, between the two cartridges. I kind of compare this sometimes to, if you think about a typical revolver cartridges, maybe a .357 revolver versus the .38 Special. Both of them will fire in a .357 gun, but the .38 Special will be obviously a little bit less power when you pull the trigger, and this is working the same way, 10mm versus 40. All right. So anyway, anytime you have typically the revolver with a semi-auto cartridge, you're going to have what we call a moon clip. Now, let's engage it right here. And this gun comes from factory with 3 of these are provided. So to make that operate, you would have to snap your cartridge into the rim where your semi-auto would normally grab this cartridge and pull it out of the chamber. They use that same recess to be able to lock in your moon clip. Snap those in place. And it holds 6 cartridges. You would load it, you load it with the 6 cartridges as you typically would if you had a speed loader kind of thing. Drop them in, and once it's fired, you can tilt it up and they'll fall right out. All right. So anyway, and that's required when you have the semi-auto in this particular gun. I know there are a couple of models that some manufacturers make. I think Ruger may have some. Again, Taurus may have some where you don't have to have the moon clip in a 9mm, for example. The chamber is a little bit, the chamber is cut so that the cartridge seats on the very edge of the casing. But in this case, it's not made that way. We're using moon clips on it. All right. So anyway, it gives you an idea of some of the possibilities as far as if you have a semi-automatic firearm, you're a fan of semi-autos, nothing wrong with that. If you have a 9mm and you want to have a revolver that's used the same cartridge, you can do that, all right? Just do your research and find out which gun particularly fits your needs. Because there are a lot of different models out there that can do that as far as being able to use the same ammo as your semi. Anyway, hope that'll help you out a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm going to do too. Since we've got this gun here handy, I'm going to go ahead and do a trigger pull test on it just to see what it feels like. It is a big, heavy frame gun, really designed for hunting and could be possibly for self-defense also. You probably want to carry this in a shoulder rig holster. Might be a little heavy for most people on your waistband, but see, single action, we're about 4 3/4 pound trigger pull. I know double action is going to be, this one peg it to gauge, I don't know, it's going to be 12 to 15 pounds probably. And nothing wrong with that, but if you have a need to make it lighter, that is something that could be massaged a little bit. And I know if you had this product from the Performance Center or requested from Smith & Wesson, they would do a job for you to make it a little smoother, a little less trigger weight pull. Anyway, that's some options for you. So thanks for watching, and if I can help you out with something, give us a call.